Before you comment, before you pick sides, I need you to answer one question. While watching the 50 Cent documentary, did you notice who wasn't there? Because that's the part nobody's talking about. The documentary broke records, but Jaguar Wright says it also broke a promise. She claims a full list of names was quietly removed to protect Netflix investors. And that 50 Cent helped make it disappear. She's daring the internet to look at one photo and name everyone in it. And says no YouTuber has had the courage to do it. So tonight, we're not talking about what Netflix showed you. We're talking about what they didn't want you to see. If you're anything like me, there was one thing you noticed instantly while watching that 50 Cent documentary. Who wasn't in it? And trust me, we all saw it. Yeah, the documentary might have broken streaming records, but Jaguar Wright says it also broke a promise. She claims a real list of accomplices was removed from the final cut, not because it wasn't credible, but because it was too dangerous for the people funding Netflix. And the craziest part, she says 50 Cent helped make that happen. Jaguar insists there's a list the public was never supposed to see, and she's daring everybody to prove it. She basically says, look at the photo I'm talking about and name every person in it. She's confident nobody on YouTube has even tried to break that photo down properly. So the question is simple. Why is censorship being pushed this hard? Now, like everyone already knows, 50 Cent dropped this Netflix documentary centered around Diddy. People were expecting fireworks. People were expecting names. People were expecting the real reckoning. But once it aired, the response was what Netflix hoped for. Insiders like Gene Deal and Jaguar Wright immediately criticized it, saying the series wasn't exposing anything. It was controlling the narrative. And the biggest complaint, the names that mysteriously never made it into the story. Specifically, Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Jaguar claims they're deeply connected to Diddy's circle. Yet in a 4-part documentary, the biggest power names in the culture are either barely mentioned or completely absent. Let's keep it real. If you clicked on this video, it's because you heard Jaguar Wright is going full scorched earth on this documentary. And you should be curious. Because while the internet is arguing about what Netflix revealed, Jaguar is focused on what Netflix refused to show. And according to her, the missing parts weren't removed because they weren't explosive. They were removed because they were too explosive. Jaguar questions whether 50 Cent is actually seeking justice, or if he's just using this moment to take down another black man and position himself as the hero. She calls the entire project a mockumentary, not a documentary, and says it insults the audience's intelligence. In her words, almost 80% of the information is stuff she's already been saying publicly for years. The only thing that stood out to her was a couple specific witness admissions. But then she goes even further. She claims 50 Cent is actually worse than Diddy and Jay-Z because he's playing the savior role while secretly aiming to dominate the industry. Jaguar's point is simple. He doesn't want reform. He wants control. And this is where things get interesting. Jaguar acknowledges, yes, there really was a documentary being worked on, but she questions the whole setup. Why this director? Why someone with no real hip-hop background? Why tell this story in a way that conveniently keeps certain people clean? Before we even get to Jaguar's leaked claims, you need the behind-the-scenes context. And don't worry, we're skipping the history lesson and going straight to the main points. 50 Cent reportedly spent almost 2 years putting together this 4-part Netflix series. It covers Diddy's life from Harlem to Bad Boy to his arrest. And on paper, it sounds like Netflix went all in. The series includes supposedly unseen footage of Diddy speaking with his lawyers just days before his arrest, interviews with people around him, and even conversations with jurors from the trial, which is almost unheard of access. But here's the issue. Not everyone who participated actually made it into the final cut. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, and someone widely viewed as a walking vault of secrets, was cut. The reason? disputes with director Alex Stapleton over payment and creative control, and Jaguar's footage. Netflix allegedly labeled it too controversial. Let that sit for a second. Too controversial. For a documentary about one of the most controversial men in hip-hop history. So if this was supposed to be the full story, why are we only getting a filtered version? Jaguar made it clear almost nothing in the documentary surprised her. She knew what would be included. She knew what would be conveniently left out. But one moment did stand out. Kirk Burroughs finally went on record saying he was abused by Diddy. That mattered. Kirk was around for decades, more than 30 years, and was close to Diddy during his most formative years. To Jaguar, that admission was huge, because it confirmed what people have whispered behind closed doors for years. And then Jaguar unleashed. She flat out called it a mockumentary. She says it mocks the audience, mocks the victims, and mocks the people who have been trying to speak up long before it became safe. And she makes it clear, this isn't about ego. It's about truth being watered down to protect powerful people. Because once you start looking at who didn't appear in this documentary, things start getting uncomfortable fast. Jay-Z is barely mentioned, once or twice at most. That's it. And Jaguar says that's insane when you consider how connected Jay and Diddy have been for decades. Same circles, same parties, same industry power brokers. So how does Jay-Z walk through a 4-part exposé, basically untouched? Jaguar isn't buying it. And if that alone didn't raise alarms, then Clive Davis definitely will. Clive owned 51% of Bad Boy Records, majority ownership. More power than Diddy on paper. Yet in 4 episodes, he gets what, half a minute? Jaguar says when she was asked who the most corrupt celebrity she's ever been around was, she didn't hesitate. Clive Davis. She calls him devil incarnate and makes extremely explosive claims involving Janis Joplin, Whitney Houston, and alleged blackmail. Now those are major accusations, but Jaguar also has a history of being called crazy until time starts proving parts of her claims true. So when the man who owned the majority of Bad Boy is practically erased from the narrative, you have to ask, who's being protected? And why? Jaguar also points out another detail most viewers missed. She believes Diddy was shaping public perception long before the arrest. The documentary shows him recording everything, even filming federal agents when they appeared nearby. No panic, no fear, just cameras. Then there's his conversation with attorney Mark Agnifilo. And Jaguar says what they were discussing wasn't defense. It was influence. We're losing. We need control. We need to be speaking to potential jurors. Before charges. Before custody. Before everything. Jaguar's question is sharp. Losing what? Losing who? She believes they were already strategizing how to infect public opinion and manipulate the jury pool. And suddenly, the documentary starts looking less like accountability and more like a PR machine. Then comes one of the darkest claims. Jaguar says footage involving Justin Bieber and Diddy was cut. She claims Diddy had been trying to get access to Bieber for years, but Bieber's management blocked it because they sensed something off. But then Usher took over management and allegedly gave Diddy temporary guardianship of Bieber for 48 hours, after Bieber had been hospitalized. Think about how insane that sounds. Why would anyone hand a teenage boy over to someone they supposedly didn't trust? Jaguar believes the footage exists, but Netflix refused to air it because that would raise questions about who enabled what and who protected who. And then she gets to what she believes is the real motive behind 50 Cent's documentary. She says he's not trying to dismantle the system. He's trying to replace the people running it. Remove Diddy. Remove Jay-Z. Step into power. She straight up says she doesn't trust him. And then she fires a warning shot, accusing 50 Cent of environmental violations connected to his Shreveport studio property, claiming she has proof. And here's what makes people pause. 50 Cent has gone after people for far less. But when it comes to Jaguar, silence. No lawsuits. No posts. No clapbacks. Nothing. So the question becomes, why? Some people think Jaguar has receipts, and 50 Cent knows it. And finally, Jaguar shifts the spotlight to Jay-Z, claiming he's orchestrating Diddy's downfall and could be next. She lays out a pattern of people she claims Jay-Z stepped over on his way to the top. She even makes allegations involving Aaliyah, Kathy White, and buried industry secrets that most people don't even want to discuss. Whether you believe all of it or not, one thing is undeniable. Jaguar has been saying these things for years, before it was trending. People laughed, people dismissed her, people called her crazy. Now the world is catching up. So the real question is, why didn't we know? It's, why didn't we listen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Jaguar? Do you trust 50 Cent's intentions? And who do you think is next? I read every comment. See you in the next one.